Blessed love, give thanks for your presence. Of course, it is your brother, the Honorable Priest Isaac, here with you. I have a special offer for you today. As you can see, this is our brand new book coming out of the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. This is The Heavens Declare the Glory, Rastafari and the Cosmos, written by myself, the Honorable Priest Isaac, and of course, the whole Tiger's Nest family. And I will say definitely it is a wonderful read. It takes you into the link, the whole mystic link between astronomy, the science, and theology, the science as well. We, of course, go into the realms of the Sahu constellation, known as the Orion constellation, the whole ecliptic or zodiac belt, and show you how it connects to the scriptures of the Bible and show you how it connects to the even fulfillment of Haile Selassie I. We also use the movements of the planets and many different things to highlight different understanding and different theological outlooks internationally, and of course bringing it home to Rastafari. And that is why it is Rastafari and the cosmos, because Rastafari is extremely, not only just international, but extremely universal. But all of that is in the book. Now, as I said, we have a special offer. The book itself, that is The Heavens Declare the Glory. It goes for a value of only $20 United States currency. But we have a special offer where we are also giving you the book, The True Biblical Land of Israel. Of course, I'm sure you know of this book. This is the book on which you hear us from time to time issue the challenge, wherein this was officially, originally a theological paper. And the theory of it is that the land of Israel, according to the Bible, is Africa plus Arabia. So another wonderful read itself, The True Biblical Land of Israel, and the book Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited. All three books are ebooks. This book goes into the spirit of the island of Antigua, 108 square miles, where I was born. Please don't take it simple at all. It also highlights the connection with the heavens and the megaliths on the special hill known as Mount Anu, also referred to as Green Castle Hill. Of course, another wonderful read. So as I'm saying, each of these books go for the price of $20 United States currency, but we are offering now for a limited time all three manuscripts. As I said, these are ebooks. We are giving you all three books at a price of only 50 United States currency dollars if you order all three books. And listen to this, more than that, you will also get, here it is good, a 1 month free subscription to the nightly radio program, being the Shock of the Hour. So every day, the Shock of the Hour would be sent to you via your inbox, in your email, the Shock of the Hour, and you will get it specifically each and every day. If you order these three books, value $50, and you also get the Shock of the Hour free. All you have to do is contact us via email, priestisaac27@gmail.com. And even at a time like now, I am sure that the extra information and inspiration and more knowledge and more vibration will definitely do each and every one a bit of good. So I'm looking forward to hear from you and continue to watch much more information and inspiration coming your way. Holy Manuelai, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, the heavens declare the glory. The 19th Psalm, yeah.
Priest Isaac is with us on this Wednesday afternoon as we continue.
Yes, my brother. So we definitely will be totally switching gears here for a moment. And, you know, the previous time I was here, we actually took that was a 2-hour session as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we took that time frame to go into the realms of the heavens. Basically, I was highlighting the at that time soon to be new book, which has already come out, the true, not the true biblical land, that's another book. The heavens declare the glory. God's message in the stars. And I'm sure the audience could remember, those who were listening, how we took the zodiac belt and the constellations and all of these different things. So, Brother Kyle, you're going to have to do some work now, and this is a totally different type of session we're going into here. We're going to have to pull up some pictures for sure as we roll. So, my brother, and this session is entitled "The First Black Hole, the Original Black Woman." And yes, to be very straight, it is exactly what it sounds like. And there's nothing shameful about it. It's just reality. And of course, by the time I'm sure I'm 15 minutes into this, you'll see, okay, this is some real stuff, straight up. Because what I'm saying, in the ancient time, my good brother, if you remember when we were doing that program and we were talking about the zodiac belt, we gave emphasis to the constellation known as Virgo, and we were talking about Virgo and the woman and how the whole story begins, and in the Revelation and all of that. Good. That's constellations. Now, in ancient Kemet, let's start from there. There is a deity, or what some people would call goddess, known as Newt. If you were to type Newt, it's spelled like nut, N-U-T, nut, Newt. You might have to type Newt, Egyptian Newt. And Newt is actually seen, this is how she's depicted, as a woman somewhat arched over. Well, I could see it from here. And I've seen it over here. Brother Dave could see, but it's like a woman.
The Kyle is doing that. He wants the folks to see it first.
Okay, I know it is. Respect, no respect to that. She's as a woman arched over, and her body is actually painted with the stars. Now, that's her there. Now, according to the mythology, because it's mythos, it's mythos, just for the audience's sake, it's mythos. This is our ancient African science, speaking in allegory and esoterically, subliminally, not exactly literally. So she's seen as she is bringing the sun out of her womb every morning. As you could see, she's seen as the night sky. So Nut, as she's called, is represented by the darkness of the heaven and the stars. So that's why she's seen in that arched position and painted with the stars. And she's seen bringing the sun from her womb every morning. Now, as we begin on that level, we're going to come from that level right now, but we're going to return to that level before we seal up this evening or this day. In the science of astrophysics, right now we're speaking of the black hole. Now there is a super massive black hole at the center of every galaxy. The black hole basically is somewhat like the incubator of all known life. We're dealing with science to its highest level, and plasma formation to create life in general. So follow me good. What happens when a star explodes, like how the sun is supposed to either explode or implode? You have what is known as a supernova. Super and nova, N-O-V-A, nova. So a supernova is also known as an exploding star. So a star has a lifespan, a long lifespan, billions upon billions, maybe trillions of years. But the time will come when this star will go kaboom. Now this explosion or this supernova is not just an explosion that happens in a day.
They have a steel orchestra in Trinidad by that name, Supernova.
Right, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
I could imagine.
I think they competed, and this is Panorama in Trinidad and Tobago.
And they blew up.
Well, I think that the name came from the explosions
Well,
that they
that's what I'm
made
saying,
on
they
stage.
blew up, you know.
The sounds that they're explosive.
Yes,
They're explosive.
Of course, yes, natural.
And I think maybe that's where they garnered the name from, supernova.
Yeah, I would believe, man. Of course, yeah, definitely. But now, in astronomical terms, a supernova itself, an exploding star, this is a process that will take from hundreds of thousands of years to maybe creeping into millions of years, just that process of explosion. So it's not just like boom, fireworks business, and it's like a long period of time. So there's supernovas or supernovae, I should say, that are going through that process, and they'll be ever there for several life years before they come out of that stage. Now, because of the explosion of the star, what happens is that the core of the star, if you study the whole aspect of the atom, the brother can put up the atom so we could see. The atom, of course, was once referred to as the smallest thing. But then, according to science, there were smaller things than the atom. That's why the atom, as you see it there, is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Now, the atom, the spherical atom, if you notice, the atom has more space than mass. Anyone that has a smartphone in the hand, and this is the thing, no, there's no excuse, and everybody have one in the hand. You could just type in atom and see how it looks. If you crush an atom, it will become maybe 1/10 of its size, because most of the atom is space. Good. Remember, the atom is the building block of all life. Everything is made up of atoms. Me, you, everything is made up of atoms, and atoms have a lot of space. Maybe 90% of the atom is space. This is a very important point. You know, this is a different class we're going into here, my king. This is astrophysics now. So, the atom, when it collapses upon itself, this is a scientific term, the atom will collapse upon itself. When it collapses upon itself, and it takes a lot of pressure for the atom to collapse upon itself. That's not something that just happens naturally. So the core of the exploded star, because the stars boom, but the core is so, the makeup of the core is so strong that
it still remains.
It still remains. But the atom will begin to collapse. The atoms will begin to collapse upon themselves, and then the star becomes what is referred to as a neutron star. Now, what happens if you take a big sheet of foil paper, aluminum foil paper, we just say foil paper, and you were to make a ball, not too tight, just make a little slack ball, and then you start to crumble it until it gets tight, small. That is what is happening to the core of the exploded star, which is the neutron star. Again, please listen to me, audience. So the neutron star now will begin to spin, rotate at a high velocity, and will continue to increase in speed over time while it is getting smaller. The neutron star. Okay, so because of this action, it will create, just like how the brother is showing you here, it will create obviously an invisible sort of electromagnetic field around it. It's like, and remember, this is spreading out like light years into space. An electromagnetic field around it that will pull anything that is too close into it. This is the beginning, you could say, of the formation of the black hole. This is just the beginning stages. Now, with the explosion of the stars, we're coming back to the neutron star, with the explosion of the main star, the supernova. After time, the supernova would transform with other space material into something known as a nebula. Nebula. In fact, the term nebula, I think, is Latin for cloud, because it appears, it would appear as if it is a cloud in space.
Cloud form.
Yeah, but I mean, this is, again, we're talking about stretching light years apart, like 5, 10, maybe 100 light years of, across, I should say. You see this great cloud of dust, but it's not really dust, it's material and and chunks of rocks and iron
Is it
and
up
nickel.
there?
Yes,
There?
these are all different nebulae. You have the Orion Nebula, you have the Pillars of Hercules Nebula. There's a beautiful one they call the Horseshoe Nebula. I don't see it there. The Butterfly Nebula, and these are remnants of space material.
Look at the bottom there.
Yes, beautiful. But these are all you find them in different parts of course, the known universe. These are exploded stars, gathering other space material around it, because inside of this nebula is the neutron star, getting smaller and smaller and continuing to create this area around it of uniform electromagnetic energy. That's a very important point. Take a deep breath there. That's a very important point. When that neutron star is spinning around, it is creating a uniformed area of electromagnetic energy. What that means is, if you look at the rings of Saturn, Saturn has several rings. I think it's about 13 rings, 12 or 13 rings. Jupiter has rings. Neptune and Uranus have rings as well. Maybe about 7, 5, and about 5 each. And they're thinner rings, but Saturn is known for its rings. These rings, there are different theories behind how these rings came. Some people say that moons collided and the rings came. But the point is that the rings are rocks. The rings are rocks. And the rings are separated with space in between them. Well, beautiful, well uniformed. The height of the rings, they have a specific height that none of the rocks that are going around this planet goes above the height. So obviously there is an invisible, uniformed magnetic force controlling all these rocks. Perfect. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. Going around.
While we're guiding them, we got to take a commercial break.
Summary. Astronomy K. Class 14. Saturn. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system, and it is another gas giant. Saturn has a small rocky core covered with liquid gas. It is surrounded by a system of rings that stretch out into space for thousands of kilometers. The rings are made up of millions of ice crystals, some as big as houses and others as small as a speck of dust. Saturn is not a peaceful planet. Storm winds race around the atmosphere at 800 kilometers per hour. Blessed love.
Stay locked to Connecting with Dave Lester Payne, right here on Observer Radio 91.1 FM.
Thank you for staying with us on this Wednesday. Priest Isaac, we continue.
Yes, my brother. Okay, bam. Yeah, a little technical difficulties of my own. Yes, my brother, give thanks again. So, bam. Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. So we were speaking of the whole aspect of the supernova, and the supernova eventually becoming that cloud, the nebula, or the nebulae. So when we understand that science now properly, the nebulae, as I said, the term itself is considered to be a term that comes from clouds, ancient clouds, or ancient Greek calls it the clouds. So when you look at the whole aspect of how the star, the star at the center, the neutron star, is spinning around, the velocity. This is very important. And let me just stress, even to the young ones that are listening, you should have a pen, you should have a pad, you should be taking the notes of exactly what Uncle Priest Isaac is giving you today. Because this is, you're out of school, trust me, this is some good school for you. Trust, and no disrespect in no school, but you're not getting this in no school. And this is not no makeup business. This is not religion. This is astrophysics that we're dealing with. I don't know why we're afraid to teach children them kind of things. You know, Rasta business, this no, Brother Dave. This is astrophysics, you know, man. You know, here no I and I here, you know, man. You know about past the country on the left hand side, you know, is supernova I telling you about now. Atoms, protons, neutrons, and electrons. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Hey. So anyway, education is my passion, my lord. We can step up the game a bit. So I'm just saying now that when you consider what is taking place now, so I'm just kind of draw the picture to the people. Remember, we are dealing with a galaxy. It is the galaxy that we are going towards. All that I'm telling you, the different steps that I'm making here, is basically the steps going towards the creation of a galaxy. So within that now, this area is being formed. As I said, Saturn has that electromagnetic energy around it. And because of that electromagnetic energy, it creates the rings that it has in perfect, that uniform aspect that they have. The same thing with the moon that goes around the earth is the same uniform electromagnetic energy that is keeping the moon in orbit. The same thing with all the planets. So this spiral energy, that's what it is. It's a spiral energy. That is why in metaphysics again, pardon me, you would hear individuals refer to that energy, that spiral energy, as a feminine energy, because that is really what it is, the motherhood as such. So the star now, the neutron star, is creating that same sort of energy, the same electromagnetic energy that the sun has, that it keeps the planets going around it. The earth has it, that it keeps the moon going around it. In fact, NASA would utilize that electromagnetic energy of planet Earth to keep their satellites in orbit going around it. That is why a lot of space junk, I don't mean rocks, like real junk, Coca-Cola bottle and so, not exactly that, but I'm just saying, you know, a lot of junk is out there that
from what they would have sent up.
Yeah, a lot. And in fact, there's a website you could go and literally see them highlight the junk going around the planet as if Earth has rings, but it's junk. You know what I mean? So they have gotten caught in the electromagnetic field that planet Earth, you know, brings forth. So I went through all of that just so the audience could understand how real that energy is and how it applies to life. So that neutron star now is developing that energy. That's the point I was making. As it spins around, the velocity increases. It is creating that magnetic field around it. So now what you have as these beautiful nebulae, in a matter of, let's just say, maybe 500,000 years to 1 million years, maybe a couple million years, depending, that they will not be looking like that anymore, because they are going to adjust themselves. That cloud, just like how a real cloud would change its form as it's going across the sky, these clouds will change their form over time. If you notice this one, I know the radio audience cannot see, but if you notice this one is more circular than these. The pillars of Hercules are like columns standing up.
And why is that so?
Because this is an older nebula. It has gone through the process now that I'm going to carry you through now. Remember, because it is forming that electromagnetic circular uniform energy around it, that is the neutron star. All of the space material around it in the nebula will start to organize themselves to create that circular spiral sort of atmosphere around the center point where you have the neutron star. I hope that's not hard to understand. I just explained that if you look at the planets have their own satellite going around them because of their energy field that they have. The sun have the planets going around them. Planets have rings that they get caught up in their magnetic field that go around them. So the neutron star, which is much more powerful than even a sun, has an energy, a magnetic field around it that is so strong that it can even take a beautiful nebula and dismantle it over time and create it in a circular form because they're starting to take the energy, the shape of the energy that neutron star is giving out. So after a while now, all of that material will just go around and circle around this area. You can't just go and see the area now. It's basically out of sight, but it's there. This area of nothingness where that star is spinning around. And then it creates something that is known as a quasar. That's very important, Kyle. A quasar is spelled Q-U-A-S-A-R, quasar. Now, the quasar now, when you look at a quasar, you begin to see a galaxy. But the quasar now is the same material becoming excited. This is very important. The quasar is basically the same material becoming very excited, very hot. In fact, a lot of the rocks become molten.
Because of the heat.
Because of the heat and the friction and just the speed going around that center point that is being formed now. The black hole is being formed. Now,
and which one of that we could see that's describing that? The one that you pointed
at?
Yeah,
this is a quasar more. Yes, this too, but this is like a stage after this.
Oh, okay.
This one doesn't have anything spouting out of it. So for the listening audience, the quasar for the listening audience looks very similar to a galaxy. I guess most people would understand how a galaxy looks. This frisbee shape. The quasar has the frisbee shape, but when it is depicted, it really looks hot, red and orange.
Like
because,
the one at the top.
Yeah, same thing, because it's a lot of heat and, as I said, molten rock and friction. You can't go nowhere close there. Well, even if that wasn't going on, you still can't go nowhere close there, But the point is now, what happens over again? The audience must understand, over a long period of time, you have the material start to dropping into this
black hole.
Over a long period of time, millions of years if that's the case, but it start to drop into the black hole over a period of time. In fact, black holes are known to dismantle any close solar system, because black holes obviously would form inside of a galaxy too. It's a mystic thing. That's why some galaxies eat up some galaxies over time, according to astrophysics. In fact, it is said in a couple billion years, not a couple, maybe 100 billion, some sort of big number years, the Andromeda galaxy is supposed to be so close to our galaxy that it's supposed to have effects that you could obviously feel. But that's a long time from now, so no need to worry. But the point is that what happens...
We won't be around for that.
Not, I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so? Well, you plan to be here for that long, huh? Okay, go ahead.
So the rocks and all the material are going in. Now, this other stage, just for the audience sake again, there's a stage of ejection. Again, I'll just say to specify the point, we're dealing with millions of years. So after millions of years, one day, this quasar just start to shake and then start to spit out, eject from both sides the same material that came inside of it.
Time to get rid of it.
It spit it back out, but not get rid of it. It's going to utilize it. It spits it back out according to what science referred to in plasma form. So this plasma form now is a formation where it is now in a position to be used to create basically intelligent life form. I'm going to show you what happens here again. Remember, the magnetic energy is still on. And even though it's spitting out this material out into space, and that again is, hundreds of thousands of years of material they're spitting out, that same material that it's spitting out will still eventually find itself coming back around the same area of that black hole to become a part of that uniform again that's going around the black hole that is formed. But the black hole would have cooled down by that time. So now the electromagnetic energy itself would be balanced off. So the quasar energy, there's hot energy around the whole creating galaxy, because a galaxy is being created here. It would not be like when it was in a quasar state. So again, let me just go through that quickly again for the listeners. After the quasar state, the quasar swallows the material into the black hole and spits it back out. And after spitting it back out, it still draws it back around it again. And then you are in the last stage of forming a galaxy. Okay, now, even if it sounds complicated, that is as simple as you can put this. Because what is really happening here, all life form comes out of the black hole. Yes, reality. The sun, the moon, the stars. It don't mean like the sun boom, come out the hole. It means like the material that comes out. That's why the material has to go in first and then come back out.
To make the different...
the plasma form. Life form now, because the material that comes back out is the same material that would have created the suns that are in the galaxy and all the stars that are in the galaxy. These planets that are Goldilocks planets, like planet Earth, that have water and life, that according to the science that we've been taught, began with bacteria and single-celled organisms and stromatolites under the sea. All of this is the plasma energy coming out of the same black hole, because if you study the evolution of the planet, again, you give that a couple billion years, and you know that planet Earth was in molten form, and then after a couple hundreds of thousands of years, the planet Earth would have been totally water, then totally dried, according to what we've learned from science and geology and, of course, creation itself. Not the Bible story. This is not Adam and Eve. We're talking about science now. So even when it comes down to the evolution of different animals and aquatic animals and these different things, the point I'm making is that all of the frequency and life force that exists to make everything happen eventually, not eventually, but had its beginning
in the black hole.
Everything, it took that plasma energy to come out of the black hole to begin that evolution process. Now, when I say evolution, I'm not talking about Charles Darwin. Everything evolves. Let's not get spooky here. I'm just showing you that in the evolution of creation, this is not, God created the moon and he clicked his finger and the moon was there. No, let's stop playing around. The moon had to evolve to get to that level. And it's a long-term evolution. And the point I'm making is that all things, all life, come out of the black hole. Good. I see the bottom of the hour. Jump over the broom and continue.
Jump over the broom and continue. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Now, if you noticed, at the beginning, we highlighted the so-called goddess Newt. I just say so-called goddess, I know why, because, that's a term we would apply, but in ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet, she would be considered a neter, which means the principles. But even to find her picture, you have to type goddess, or they might show you a peanut or something. So the goddess Newt, spelled N-U-T, as you see, she's painted with the stars. Remember, this is almost kindergarten to us in them times. Just like how you watch cartoon and Bugs Bunny and Sesame Street, and so we utilized, what we had there, paintings, and we utilized nature and pretty pictures to teach the lesson. So Mother Newt may not necessarily be a real woman, but she's seen as the heavens. And out of her womb comes the sun every single morning, and the moon and the stars as well. So the black hole, my good brother, in the ancient time was considered to represent the reproductive system of the woman, because it is the incubator of life. Now, there is another aspect to the theology here in Kemet, and the reason why I will highlight Kemet or ancient Egypt is because archaeologically speaking, they have the record as far as the oldest known civilization. There may be something before it, but it's around here we understand the apex of civilization and the oldest writings. So we utilize that. You know, I think that's a good feather in our hat. So the oldest writings and the oldest creational story writings. And interestingly, the writings that came after these writings have a very similar tone to these writings. So let's stick with the older writings. So according to the ancient Kemetic Northeast African writings, it speaks about the god Ptah is considered, well, I keep saying God, but you know what I mean, Ptah, P-T-A-H. And Ptah is said to have plunged into Naunet, the Nun. Nun means the waters. And the waters are the primordial waters.
That's what we have up there?
Well, that's Ptah himself. And if he types Nun, I think you have to put N-U-N Nun, he'd have to put Egyptian after that, or else you're going to get a Roman Catholic sister or something. Nun, you know. But that's where they got the word.
That's where the Nun name came from?
From Nun, from the mother goddess Nun.
That's how the Nun came about?
Yeah, because Mary, you know, Mary means water. Mary, like Miriam means Mary. You know, Miriam in the Old Testament is the sister of Moses and Aaron. Miriam is basically the Hebrew word for Mary, Greek. They both means water. That's why Miriam was the one that followed Moses up the river.
In the water?
In the water.
Well, the river is the water anyway.
Exactly. And Moses' name means to be drawn out of water. You know, so the water science is very deep. So Mary is the symbol of the nun. Mary is the real nun, you know. All nuns want to be like Mother Mary, the nun. And the original, before Mary was even a concept, there was a nun. Look, she here, the waters. See, she look like the water there? Okay, straight up, and thousands upon thousands of years old. So I'm just saying now that this, the Ptah, or the God figure would plunge into the waters. And I mean, it's obviously what he's talking about, it's reproduction. So he plunged into the waters. And he came out of the waters. Look at here on this one. Although this is just a drawing, you see the man coming out with the sun out of the waters, like when you see the sun rise at the beach in the morning. He came out of the waters as a newly formed being, as Ra. Most people will hear of the Egyptian god Ra, which is seen as the sun. So one god jump in the water, and the next god come out the water. You know, two different gods, but it seemed like he came out as a different being. Now I'm saying, in reality, for example, let us just look at the black hole first in space. The material had to plunge in first, and then the material came back out in a new form, plasma form, and it is from that where you got your sun and your moon and your stars. You see what we are doing in ancient time, you know, this is high science in a comic book kind of style, This is high science. No disrespect to
many moons ago. Many
blue moons ago. So imagine that's a long that's an extra long time in there. You understand? But what I'm saying,
and the science, of course, that they use at that time.
Exactly.
They were far ahead of their time.
So even though we marvel at this little painting here, the fact that they could paint this is just the artist's work. But the fellas that figured this out, what they were doing there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I'm saying though, in the same way, like a man, you know, would plunge into his wife. You know, hope he's a wife, you know, plunge into his wife. Keep it clean, you know what I mean? Because it got to be a holy thing. Out of the wife comes his son. So etymology plays a part too. Those who crafted the language, you know what I mean, they're playing with your mind. They know what they're up to. So out comes the sun, or some stars, the sisters, you know what I mean? You see some stars there. So you have sun and sisters, you know, coming out of, remember you going first, eh? Nothing coming out, you know, well, this nun, I don't know about the other nuns, and the Mary, but this nun, somebody had to go in first. Because in the black hole, the material have to go in first.
Before it comes back out.
Before it come back out. And now, so the same way as, again, as a man plunge into his wife, and the creational process happen. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Ain't nothing to by scratch and laugh and giggle about, you know. People laughing, eh? I know, man, people laughing just right now. People laugh when they hear these things. I don't know what's so funny. You understand? But out of the same black hole, the incubator, remember staying there for a while too. About 9 million years. 9 months, right? Yeah. But just, you know, microscopic, macroscopic, if you want to use that term. Out of the womb comes the new life. So you could see how even in the ancient time, again, they could equate. And remember, the woman now remember, they're tracking back the origin of human beings. And it is the mitochondria in the woman, not in the man, that has the ability to track the lineage of the woman from woman to woman to woman, going as far back as they can go. And that is why National Geographic a few years ago came up with that documentary, you know me, finding the original Eve. As the original Eve, the original black woman was the mother of all creation and all civilization. So that is why National Geographic a few years ago came up with that documentary, you know me, finding the original Eve. As the original Eve, the original black woman was the mother of all creation and all civilization. So what that really means as well too, you know, because it's good to clarify these things, that, you know, sometimes when people hear you speak about the Africans and this, they feel, I don't know why a person would think that you are racist because you are pro-African, you know, because you have pride in your ancestry as well. Because the reality is, if we're going to take science for what it is, all other so-called races, that these are just terms that we use, but you understand, so-called people. The point is that it's the original melanated man, the original ebonite man, that was the original human being, and that's just it. So the original woman of which all life came forth from is the black woman, if you want to use that term. But the point is, we are speaking of indigenous people, the original people to walk the earth. This is why even when a lot of these sciences existed, nobody else was really around. That is just the reality. So that is why we would paint the black woman on the wall with the stars and identify her and her reproductive system with the most magnificent aspect of creation that we know about, which is the explosion of a star and the collapsing of the star upon itself, which is a neutron star, which eventually create a magnetic field, a electromagnetic field of energy around itself. And of course, the material from the exploded star will also form in a nebula, beautiful cloud-like shape that you could see with all of these great telescopes that they're sending up out there. But after a while, again, hundreds of thousands to millions of years, the same nebula will form itself, this is just a summary, again into a circular formation around that uniform electromagnetic energy that is being released by that neutron star. And then after a while, the quasar is formed, where the material becomes molten and hot and highly charged. Highly charged, that's very important. Remember, Ptah plunged into the nun. Ptahs don't plunge into nuns just so, you know. You have to get highly charged. So when you see the quasar get hot, you know, remember them rocks were going away, you know. Something pulled the rocks to come back. That's just life. A female attract a man. If you don't want to look at humans, watch animals. You know what I mean? Pussycat and dog, when you see them spraying and so what think they're doing? They're spraying for some, might to pick up the scent and come.
We take a commercial break.
Wow.
No, my dues can't fail me, no. To connecting with Dave Lester Payne, right here on Observer Radio 91.1 FM.
We're running down the clock here, priest.
Yes, my brother. Well, you see, the reason for all of that, cosmic flair a moment ago, really, is for even a woman to can identify with how sacred she really is. And even with the whole aspect of the God form. I know we are very religious people, but the reality is that it was purposely, it's a purpose manipulation of the mind when you see one make it their business to take the woman out of the God concept when the woman was always there. I mean, those who don't have the woman in their God concept, they didn't always have a God concept. They met us with the original God concept, and then they made up their own God concept.
And us mean, of course,
the original Africans. Look our so-called gods there, if you want to use that term, really, because God is really a German term, by the way. Again, we just using loose language. I curse, no joke, and you you don't even know that. Enough bad one. Yeah, loose language really, but the Most High really. But the point I'm making is that, for example, in the previous time I was here, I highlighted the constellation of Gemini, which is considered as Shu and Tefnut. Yeah, Shu and Tefnut, a male and female. And Greek mythology has turned that into two male. Right. So it's obvious that there's some level, there is an agenda on some level to erase the woman out of the divine concept. Most women don't see themselves as really nothing when it comes to the heavenly realms, because God is a man. The son of God is a man. Rather worse if they're white. Oh man, so it's double whammy there on you. It's like the woman that didn't get no justice and she still can't vote. So the point I'm making is that when a woman would understand that even from the ancient culture, the woman was also seen within the whole God figure aspect. Let us make man. I don't really know what people must be thinking about when, let us make man. How else they do that, King? We just went through a whole explanation, man, of how Ptah plunged into Naunet. That's what he told her, let us make man. And that's the original let us make man. I'm not dissing a body religion, but the Johnny come lately stuff can't pretend he gonna infiltrate. I mean, he can say what it want, but don't try to cross my border as if you're trying to, pull some kind of debate with me, I'll crush you in a second. Straight up. No, it's serious, eh? The original concept of the God figure must have a woman in it. Impossible. I would never follow anything that not glorifying the Most High as male and female. Allah, in the Quran, Allah referred to so-called himself as we. Because masculine and feminine is a natural thing. I'm telling you, this thing about God is man and no woman in this is a enslaved concept that has been pushed on us straight up. Who don't like it, that's their business, because they cannot deny what I putting down on facts and records and that. So the reality again is that is supposed to, that is taken out of the brain. You have a kind of half brain mentality running there because you take the woman out of that concept.
Like man just a pair.
Just man, just
without a woman.
Without a woman. All of that. But you see, the reality is, again, the place for the woman. Let me just show you something quickly even in that, because there's a science again, the same Gemini in the Sumerian language. Gemini is referred to as Hu and Sa, and the Hu and Sa now, Hu and Sa, Hu is male, Sa is female. You see me thinking, I'm trying to put everything together. Hu is male and Sa is female. Now Hu represents fire and Sa represents water. These are two of the elements. The earth, planet Earth, is made up of earth, wind, fire, and water. And now we are earth too. Because in the same way that planet Earth is made up of 70% water, is the same way that planet people are made up of 7% water or blood and everything there, or 70 to 80, you know, it changes every year. So I'm saying now that these elements, again, this is our Nancy story here. We use elements and typify them and bring it in a story form, not for you to get carried away. So who? Fire, Sa, water. Now, if you look into the etymology again, the language, you would realize now that name Sa, it appears in sacred things having to do, even sacred, Sa, sacred. Now, it begins on the level of, first of all, the waters on the planet. The waters on the planet, that is 70%, is basically seawater. About 3% of the water on planet Earth is fresh water, what they call sweet water. But the rest is really salt water. You know, now the water that we have within our so-called veins, the water is a blood. Now blood, the salinity of our blood is similar to the salinity of the seawater. That's a reality. So in the same way, it's as if we're the earth with the 70%
of the seawater.
Exactly. So there's a oneness. So within the terminology now, let me just show you a mistake. If you look at the word sea, if you take out the E out of sea, you get Sa. All right. Looks simple. Now the seawater is salt water. Salt again is Sa. Now in the ancient vibes, see what I just showed you again with the water, the Nun. This is like a mantra of the ancient world. All the saviors come out of water. You'll hear it in different religions. All the saviors come out of water. That's why the Jonah savior figure came out of the fish, which came out of the water. In Hindu tradition, you see Vishnu coming out of the fish, coming out of the water. The whole science of Christ being born from Mary, again, if you were to define it, interpret it, it would be Christ was born from the waters. Again, Moses means to be drawn out of water. So you have many, Osiris, all of them, you have many different concepts of God figures coming out, drawn out of this water concept, because water represents the woman here. Again, the Nun. So that is why now the Sa, that's her name, Sa. His name is who? Fire. Sa. Again, salt, Sa. All the saviors, Sa. Saviors bring salvation, Sa. You know, come to save. Sacred, Sa. Sabbath, Sa. Sabbath is on a Saturday, Sa. Sanctuary, sacrifice, anything, words that have to do with this sacred sanctum, you know, and they're more. You know, even a salad, they all begin with Sa, which and again, that represents the sacredness of the woman. Look at all them words there with her name imprinted on it, that is used in the English, you know, vocab as such. So again now, when you look at that vibration, it also has to do with, it's a balance as well. This is very deep, within the human being.
We need to turn this way.
Yeah, I just figured that out. Within the human being, I'm getting real comfortable there.
But that's good.
Within the human being, some people may go crazy here, but you do have a balance, you know, of masculine and feminine energy.
But why would they go crazy when it's factual?
I feel anti-man business here. I feel you're gonna...
Please, you're kidding me. Please, you're kidding me.
No, but I mean, it's natural. I mean, if a man don't have an understanding of the feminine side, he's in problem, brother. Yeah, straight up. But anyway, that naturally exists. So this science is taught, even with the examples I'm giving. I will show you why. If you look at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and I think we might be sealing up here, it shows that same salt aspect again. Now, we understand the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing. And we know the story and Lot and the angels and Abraham and so. Good. We know when Lot left Sodom and Gomorrah, the angels told him, hey, don't go back there. In fact, you're not supposed to even look back. And it says now that when Lot looked back, not Lot, his wife looked back.
In a pillar of salt.
She turned to a pillar of salt. Again, we're back to the salt aspect. Because what the salt is, remember the salt, with the salinity. Salinity is the next word with Sa. The salinity of your blood is similar. His doctors are here saying so, eh? Never been to medical school, so I make that clear. The salinity of your blood is similar to the salinity of the blood of the earth then, the sea water of the earth, the sa. So what happened to her? Because if you notice, the blood represents, again, the physical aspect, you know. The who is fire. Who is the male, sa is the female. Who is fire? Fire represents the spirit. The sa or the waters represent your physical, the matter part of you. That's why if you look at the word water and you take the W and turn it to an M, it turns to matter. And I'm not playing with letters. There's a constellation in the heavens called Cassiopeia that at one point of the night it's a W, and when you come back out it's an M because it's a circumpolar star. That means it goes around the North Pole. You know, I mean, the heavens declare the glory, my brother. You understand? So I'm saying I'm smoothly trying to, you know, before evolution drive time. See, evolution, you picked the right term. So, wow, where am I? I just saying so many things. I want to get this point down good properly though before we really get out of here. So yes, I'm just saying that when the vein, if you notice, people say, boy, you too vain. You're too into your beauty. The vanity is a mirror that you dress up in.
Yeah, it's a feminine thing,
right?
They say.
And your blood, the same business run through your vein. You see. So when she went back to Sodom as such, she looked back.
Turn this way.
When she looked back to Sodom, you could say the salty aspect of herself took over. I know we're going to say, boy, she turned to a pillar of salt and it's still there up to today. Okay, I don't want to go into that doctrine there. But the point is, within the story and the metaphor of it is that she was overtaken within the vanity. Because Sodom, S-O-D-O-M, is salt. S-D-M is salt. Sodium. Sodom, sodium is the same thing if you just take out the vowels. And this is why even you have the salt C in the Bible called Siddim. You understand? So it's a high understanding when it comes to that balance there. I know the time would not permit us to go deeper, but there is a science within that. When you take away the feminine, that's the main point I'm getting to. When you take away the feminine nature out of the whole equation. How much time we have? Let me just show you a quick science here, quick.
1 minute.
Yeah, this is going to do, man. In the term na, just show you this again quickly. Na. The term na means to born, and it also means to swim. Na. So, for example, in being born, you have na, like your name and your nation and your nativity and all of that. Na. To swim, you have things like navy and a natatorium, which is a swimming pool and all of that. Na. Good. Now, if you ask, okay, na means to born and to swim. Okay, where in nature are you being born and swimming at the same time? Well, obviously, you already give away the answer. When you're being born, you're actually swimming. So na comes together, swimming and being born, na. And I just gave you the words. If you look at in the periodic table, the symbol for sodium is actually na, N-A, which is also, again, the same life form. You're coming out of the waters, because that's what it is. You know, all the saviors come out of waters, because we all began in the bag of our mother, that water, the same noon, and we came out as the sun. So, yeah, you can't take the woman out of the equation. That's the point.
We got to wrap it up today. Again, Priest, thanks a lot. Of course, we've gone full circle, and science is taking over us here. Right now, they need some science to guide them for COVID-19. So, here's hoping that you'll enjoy the rest of the week, and always thanks for your time and educating us into ways and means where we ourselves could not go. And I'm always glad when I'm hearing things that highlight what life is all about, and this world that we live in is all about. And it's not a subject that you discuss every day. but we should know exactly where we're from and the form of life that we're in and what forms our life. And I say thank you for educating us in the way that you do always. And here's open. The next time we meet, we'll have another topic.
My brother.
Stay safe out there. Give my best regards to the family.
Yes, my
And that's a wrap in Connecting with Dave Lester Payne for today. Stay tuned for Evolution Drive Time.